All right. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a moment of silent prayer. Amen.
Yep.
Okay, it is 5:30 something in the evening, Tuesday, February the 21st, we're in the Municipal Center. Can I have a roll call, please?
Scott Murphy.
Here.
Rick Weber. Here. Greg Fournier.
Here.
Rose Jackson.
Here.
Beth Skinner.
Here.
Chris Chapman.
Here.
Susan Webster's here.
All right, can I have the review of the minutes from the council meeting of February 7th? Take any additions or corrections that need to be made and a common consent. Everybody okay with it?
Yes.
Okay, common consent, we've got that. All right, we don't have any persons before council this evening, so we move on to communications from the mayor. We do have the Make It Shine program, April 1st through April 1st to the 15th is the deadline to sign up. I don't know if there'd be any council members that would be willing to take on and spearhead that so that we can get the application in, and whatever else needs to be done. Or if we're going to participate, I guess.
I'll do it for the cemetery in town.
Okay,
In the town.
thank you, Beth. That takes a lot of relief off of
Do
you.
you know what dates you're gonna, well, we have to decide,
You'll have to decide what our dates with the
typically
rain
we
date.
do the first available date, which would be April 1st. And then, well, the weather stays like this. And then a rain date would be the following Saturday, now that's the day before Easter, so I don't know. I don't know what that would be.
Yeah,
Wait
well,
until the
let's
14th.
sit down and look at what dates we got, and then if we
Well,
have
we
to
only have three choices. It's
Okay.
gotta be done either first, the 8th, or 15th.
Okay.
So I would say, let's do it the first, and our rain date would be the 15th.
Okay. All right, everybody sound good with that? Thank you, Beth.
Yeah.
All right, that's really all I have right now. Bath Development Authority, the next meeting is the 1st of March, 4:30 at the courthouse room, via Zoom or in person. Parks and Recs, their next meeting is gonna be 3:15, at 7 PM at the courthouse room, County Commission. Let's move down to Rails and Trails, Planning Commission, I'm sorry.
Oh, my heart almost broke.
I
Okay.
know.
Hey, a couple of topics. First, on Friday, I received a letter via Sharon from Mr. Dave Abruzzi in reference to our December meeting. Where we discussed the definition of certificates of appropriateness as it applies to local governments. And he offered to do a follow-on class for us. So I'm working on a response to his letter at this time. Just question, does that need to go just through Sharon, or do I need to bring it up to the next council meeting or routing? I just want to make sure that I don't screw up the routing.
Yourself, you're the committee, so I don't see a problem.
No.
Yeah.
He wants to meet with the,
You know, he wants clarification of what we discussed.
okay,
And then secondly, he's offered to be able to give a brief on certificates of appropriateness, how it applies to historic landmarks commission stuff, which again, for everybody who knows, I mean, in the planning commission, we're pretty much generalists in everything. We cover about this deep and about 50 things. So as you know, again, it was something that we didn't understand, so we dug down on it for a little bit and we moved on. So it's not in our near-term agenda, so I don't plan on taking him up on his offer in the near term. But if it does, he like I said, the offer's out there. If we
He wants to come and instruct us on what the meaning of the certificate of necessity.
appropriateness and the process.
Certificate of the, all that,
Yeah.
geez.
Yeah.
Yeah, our attorney's already told us. That's not what to do.
Correct.
Oh, well.
Of which only,
Our
again,
attorney's already told us not to do that.
Correct. And I think that was one of the points we talked about in the meeting was that it's out there, but only 4 towns in West Virginia out of 60 something do it. I mean, we would definitely be in the minority if we put that restriction on ourselves. And that was, again, what I gained in my own personal knowledge from these endeavors. So the point is, I'm drafting the response. I just want to make sure I route it to the addressee appropriately. And just, if it's just via Sharon for tracking, that's fine with me.
I wouldn't see why not, being that you guys are
Okay.
ready.
Mm.
Yeah, just
Fair
get
enough.
it, make sure that Sharon's got it to put it in
On
the
file.
folder so that we know that we wrote him a letter to come or what, however.
Official response.
Right.
I would tread very lightly with all the negative remarks and comments he's been making on our town here lately. The damage he's been trying to do me personally.
Oh,
I think we should tread very lightly with any involvement in our committees and the information that we're given, unless it's 100% public knowledge. I don't think that he should have access to it, because every single thing he's had access to, he's tried to use against us. And that's, what my opinion is on this situation.
Concur.
Well, all of our meetings are public.
Yeah.
Anything
Well,
related
yeah,
to
but some of the
public
information
public.
he doesn't need. If it doesn't have to,
well, if he's gonna come here to talk about your certificates of appropriateness, that's all he needs to be talking about. He doesn't need to come in and say, okay, what do you got? It's gonna be the Landmarks Commission. It's gonna be,
Right.
ultimate, comes down to what we need to do.
They said they were not gonna have him do it, they weren't addressing the issue at the time, so we were just gonna decline the invitation.
Right. It's not we've got an agenda, of ideas we need to tackle over the next
Right.
several months. We go to all the meetings, we have reps at most of them.
Right.
We're not looking to pause at historic landmarks. We've got a good historic landmarks commission
Absolutely.
who's taking off. I'm getting out of their way and just making sure I'm keeping up with their tempo. So that's
Absolutely.
that's
I
my
mean, if he wants
perspective.
to come in and explain to you guys, so you know what his thought is about it, versus what our town attorney has told us in the past, that, it would be, unadvisable from him being our attorney to give certificates of appropriateness to the Landmarks Commission.
But as I said, I just don't see it in our near-term agenda.
Right.
Of I'm worried about water. I'm worried about economic development. I got some bigger rocks that I'm trying to drill down into and make sure that long-term health is represented in the comprehensive plan.
And I think his point is very noted. We just gotta tread
Yep.
very, very easily, because we don't want to be in a situation where there's letters to the editor being fired everywhere and this and that. I feel the same way as him. So,
Sure.
like I said, we got a Landmarks Commission. They're doing a great job. SHPO's already said that we're up to standards with everything. Said, just if you do invite him, make sure that Sharon's got a copy of that letter so that we have it in the file,
Will do.
and good minutes with it.
Check.
especially from that.
Correct. Okay, second topic. I don't know if anybody else especially on the board, had the opportunity, but the state attorney general had a Zoom call last week. Did anybody have the opportunity to jump in on that one? Very informative, if I could. And again, I did it from the planning perspective. Remember, generalist. So I'm like, oh, another opportunity to learn something, right? He got up there, and it was pretty well attended. I think with the sheriff was on board. A lot of local leaders. He broke it down into 3 areas. He said, what am I doing every day to fight for the citizens of West Virginia? And he listed several things, because there's a lot of people who are attacking how the government of West Virginia operates. So he said that's our day-to-day thing. Number 2 he talked about was how he's defending the rights of West Virginia from outside the state, whether it be from Congress, whether it be from the administration, et cetera, to protect the rights of West Virginia from the federal government. The third, and the thing that he stopped and talked most about, was the recent decision on the opioid money that's coming out to the various states. And I know in a previous conversation, we had requested some of that, but the key points were state of West Virginia is going to get just shy of $1 billion. 3%, or right off the bat, they have to pay off the lawyers. 3% is going to go towards the state level management of it. 24% of the $1 billion is going down to those counties and municipalities that have already identified opioid related expenses that they need help with.
Yes.
And then the last one, which is the significant majority of it, the 72% remaining, the state is establishing a 11-member panel that will look on where to spend it on education, on treatment, you name it. And that was one area again, just trying to take what I've learned from here. But, and I commented on it, and then the sheriff did as well, but can it be used for law enforcement? And it was identified that yes, it can. Now, in follow-on conversations, it's not a forever fund, right? So whatever, things the town would want to pursue, if they want to pursue something on that chain. Again, it may be a short-term thing, but he said it was absolutely open for enforcement. More information, the panel hasn't even been seated yet. The legislature is working on exactly the laws that they're going to abide by, but more to follow on that. So my only comment from me personally, not just carrying the water for the AG, is, we should probably start considering if we do have some expenses, and this is really public safety probably, in my humble opinion, to start looking at if there's some things we wanted to try to tap into some of the state level expenses to help us make our town cleaner from opioids. Any questions on that?
I have, just the biggest point you made is that those monies are not a fund that's gonna always be there. And that's what happened with the education system when Obama did his stimulus monies. They had all this money, they created all these new positions, and then that money was gone. So then you ended up, if you didn't plan ahead and maintain those monies, so all those positions you did with the stimulus money ended up going away at the expense of something else. So that's
Right.
something to really.
I've lived that at the federal level way too much. So the same thing applies. So again, I just wanted to convey that across. I thought it was important enough to bring it to the town council so that we can perhaps start, getting our brains around that to see if we wanted to pursue any of that. The last thing I have for you is, as a Catholic, Lent starts tomorrow with Ash Wednesday. It is the season of repent and forgive. So I would just ask, even if you're not Catholic, it's a good time to just, to take the extra effort to be good to your neighbor if the situation arises. That's all I have.
Be nicer to me. Be nicer to me.
Man, you gonna be nicer to me?
Yeah.
It's a one-way street,
Yeah.
a two-way street.
You got a break first.
Gosh. Okay, now that I've been accused, see, we all can have fun, come on now. We don't have to have a meeting that doesn't have a little fun in it. Yeah, that's it. All right, rails and trails.
We're not sure yet whether we're having the regular monthly meeting on Thursday. We are trying to get some information out of DOH, but we haven't heard a peep out of them for a while.
All right, how about streetscapes?
Streetscape, we have been, Pete put together a folder. We've been using this as we talk to the landowners that will be affected. We have copies of this if anybody wants one. Sharon's got one in here to answer any questions of people who come in. And if you want a copy of, it's got the pictures of the existing situation. So we've spoken to the majority of the landowners. We still have a few to go to talk to them about what's happening, what their concerns are, if they have any issues, property lines, driveways that need to be maintained, what we're thinking is going to happen, if they have concerns about that. And that we've gotten really good feedback from the landowners. On, when was that? Last Monday? Thursday. Last Thursday.
All
Um,
boomers.
The project manager from West Virginia Department of Highways, Kyle Oliver, came up to take a look at the projects. He hadn't been here before. And we met Pete Gordon, Susan and I met Pete Gordon in the park, and he described that project. That's due to go to bid anytime now. We expect the bid to be awarded maybe in May, notice to proceed probably the end of June, and then construction could start anytime after that. We emphasize that the park is used heavily in the summertime, and so we want them to clean up and preferably not work on Friday. I don't know that we can dictate that, but we can certainly dictate that they have to keep everything open and
Right.
clean.
You got a lot of people going to the pool and a lot of kids down there and picnics and Notice the last couple of years, there's been a lot of people using those picnic tables down
Yes,
there
yes.
during the daytime, even Monday through Friday. So we want to maintain a space that people will be able to still meet with their families, have picnics, and be able to go to the swimming pool and everything. So they're gonna,
We'll emphasize that when they have the pre-construction meeting.
Right.
So we'll let you know when we hear more about that, but it should be coming up on the VidX anytime. After we looked at the park, then we walked down to Congress Street, the work that's been done, pointed out the work that's been done on Washington Street. I think he was pretty impressed by it. And then the work that's going to be done on Wilkes Independence, and then hopefully a lighting design for Mercer. And then we ended up down at the depot.
And he's, it seems to be, well, it was a very educational trip for him. This is his first time to town. And I do believe that they should and are probably required to have eyes on a project at certain intervals. So he really did get to see, we filled his head with Berkeley Springs, all Berkeley Springs.
Yeah, I think he wants to come back.
what
And
we
he
like
does,
to
he
hear.
talked about coming back,
Tell me
and,
to
and
move down.
they have no problems with, there weren't any issues that he brought up. This was more or less an educational trip for him, so.
We expect Thrasher will be starting the design relatively soon. We're waiting for them to come to town so we can do a walkthrough with them and point out some of the things that need to be changed or expanded on in their 30% design that they have right now. That should happen hopefully in the next month. If anybody wants to walk the town with us, we'll keep Sharon informed when they're coming. And then I'll just hand this up here so you can pass it around if you want. And then anybody who wants a copy, we have copies for you. Any questions?
Say any questions? Okay, thank you all for that work, appreciate it. All right, let's move on to the train depot.
Depot. Of course, we did show Kyle Oliver the train depot. If you all haven't seen it lately.
I was down the other day and talked to
It's
Kevin.
beautiful. It is, you kind of want to move into it. It is really starting to pull together. You should look at it. It's nice. And it's down to getting to the little things,
Yeah.
the nitty gritty things. I mean, you walk in, it's still construction, but you can just see it
Coming
pulling
together. I talked to Kevin about the floors. I don't know if
And
you
the
guys have any
fence.
way to get those floors sanded, but we really need to do that.
Well, that is $7,500.
I know.
I'm
So-
coming.
I understand. I'm just saying, we do all this work and then we got the old wooden floors that, we might as well somewhere handy up to it.
Well, they're not all, it's a lot of it is new. What we found when we did the flooring and replaced the flooring is there was more damage by water than we thought. And so they're beautiful maple floors. But the floor in the ladies' waiting room, the station master's room, the baggage room are all hardwood maple.
Yeah.
They need to be, and it wasn't part of the interior
Absolutely.
design. And so they need to be sanded and finished. And he is estimating just a very rough estimate of $7,500. We'll make it happen. That's part of some of the next little talk I'm gonna give you.
Okay.
But please stop in. It is coming together. And we're thinking about a grand opening in like that in later spring, so. if you're interested in
Well, it
that.
looks good. Anybody that stops in there, stop in during the day when they're down there, Kevin's really cool. And he'll bring you in and show you what's been done. And it looks really good. I was down yesterday and they've done a really good job in everything that they've
All
done.
the like locks that look
Yep.
historic. And
You got the window
windows,
in,
the-
yep, you got the ticket windows in. That looks really good. I mean, I was really surprised when I walked in from what it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago when I was down there. So,
Susan, if I could pile on at one point, I was at the TBS meeting the other day, and one of their topics or one of their upcoming campaigns is the history of Berkeley Springs, and they're doing kind of a before and after thing. And I was like, holy crap. So I did tell them that plus or minus Memorial Day a little bit is when there is going to be a ceremony. So it's on TBS's agenda for a potential thing for them, just so you know.
All right, I'm on it.
Good deal.
Okay. All right, if you all notice, I sent out to you a letter that I wrote to Senator Manchin. If you recall, about a year ago, when we were just starting this interior rehab project, I had a meeting with the DOH over the phone. Pete Brown was with me that particular day. And we talked to them about the project funding and all like that. At that point, it was the first time that I had ever heard them say that we were not able to use the valuation of the donated lot next to the depot for our matching funds. And so, of course, I went into fundraising mode at that point and have gathered up money and, feel kind of secure in it. However, over the past couple of weeks, I've had the occasion to talk with Keith McIntosh 2 or 3 times, and Keith McIntosh is Senator Manchin's representative in the Eastern Panhandle. Senator Manchin has a special connection with the depot in that if it weren't for him, we wouldn't have the lot next door and have had the matching funds to do the exterior at all. It probably wouldn't, I don't know how it would have moved at all. So Keith asked me to write a letter asking for the assistance of Senator Manchin to help us find out what has happened, because Keith McIntosh also knows of other projects where valuation of property is being used. So what happened? Hopefully something good will come from this, and the money that we have piled for this project can be used in the furthering of the project. And if not, what do we have to lose at this point? We may as well ask him to find out, and if nothing else, also, this will open up the door to maybe some funding coming from Senator Manchin's office. So I wanted it on town letterhead. I wrote it, I've already signed it. I didn't send it because I just wanted to kind of get your all seal of approval that it's okay for me to send this on town letterhead for a project. Keith helped a little bit with the letter, made some suggestions and like that. So,
What's council
what
think?
do you all think?
Make a motion that we empower Susan, go ahead and send her a letter.
A motion second on the floor.
I think we've all had time to read it.
Right.
Yeah, I thought you did a very nice job.
Very good. I've got a motion and a second on the floor to send a letter from the town of Bath to the Honorable United States Senator Joe Manchin III. Any more discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, get her out there and see if he can help us out. He's helped us a lot with all other stuff, so.
Yeah, he's been a friend.
Yes.
Been a friend. We could email that to Keith, and then we could send it on. All right, I'm done with you.
All right. All right, clerk and recorder's report, Madam Recorder.
my mouth is-
Oh, I'm sorry, landmark. I'm blowing it all the way around tonight.
Yeah.
So is that a hint? You want me to be quick?
No, you can be as long as you're one. You're one of our committee guys. So.
Okay. So the committee met last Thursday, and top of the request was from the Fairfax Coffee House. They want to do some outdoor attachment. So Ryan and Zach are going to meet with Paul and Trey and go over some ideas. Ryan is working on scheduling training. So he's going to bring in the real estate agents here in town and then open it up to the public to come in so they can learn about the historic district that we have. I handed in to Sharon this evening a request for funds for the hotel tax. We signed a letter of support for the mausoleum project at the cemetery that Beth is going to be sending to the county commission. Zach did a pamphlet, and if we get funds from the hotel motel tax, I've already got a quote from the Morgan Messenger to get those printed, that then we can pass out. Our next meeting is scheduled for April the 20th at 2 p.m. And we would like to request access to the town's attorney to go over some of the letters that we've gotten from David Ruzzi to get direction from how you think we should handle those.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't have a problem with it. What's council feel? I think we definitely need to see an attorney. I was gonna stop down and talk to him myself, but if you guys want, when you go down, when you get a date, let me know and I'll try to meet with you guys and go down because I've got a couple questions. So, I mean, how's council feel about that? I mean, it's really been kind of a long process. And we're constantly getting, emails and letters and everything from Dave Abruzzi. I know we got a, request for some information came into the town clerk's office. I think it's time we talk to our legal counsel about, the situation. I think it's getting a little out of control, honestly. And I think we need to seek at least some type of legal advice. I know our attorneys already over the years has stated that it would not be a good idea for the certificates of appropriateness. And he stands by that statement. I talked to him a couple months ago about it and he still stands by that. So I think it would be a good idea for the Landmarks Commission to go because most of the stuff is directed at them for no reason at all. So, everybody okay with that? You have my permission. You can call him and tell him that you got the mayor, council's position, the permission. I'll try to call him tomorrow, but when you guys get an appointment settled, just, give Sharon a holler, tell her to call me or whatever.
Sure.
I will try to make myself available because I got a few questions to ask him too, so we might as well do it all in one thing.
This is a common consent.
Common consent, guys? Okay.
Just keep in mind you're on the clock
Yeah, don't put them on
when you're
hold.
talking to them.
Maybe I'll have them over for lunch.
Maybe. There you go. You might be able to work something
That's
out.
the thing.
No,
That's the
these
thing.
He'll still charge you.
No.
I'm not gonna say anything. Yeah. So you have anything else?
No, sir.
All right,
Any
any
questions?
questions?
You're doing a good job.
Yeah, bro. Thank you, guys, and thank the rest of the committee
Thanks for
members.
taking it on.
Yes. I know with you guys at the helm, we'll be in good shape. So, okay, let's move on down to, clerk and recorder's report now, Madam Reporter.
There is a budget preparation workshop tomorrow that people need to have signed up for. That's over in Martinsburg in the evening. I will be attending that. And then the other thing is to remind everybody that if you were applying for hotel motel funds from the town fair, the applications have to be received by close of business on the 28th. On the 1st, they will be reviewing those.
Full reporter.
Okay,
Just to let you know. Okay. In the Hancock News a couple weeks ago, I do subscribe to this to keep up with what they're doing. There was an article about the MARC train stop in Hancock, West Virginia. If you recall, 3 years ago, almost exactly, we wrote a resolution, and I wrote it, and you all approved it, and we took it over to the council, supporting their efforts to move forward with creating a MARC train stop at the Hancock, West Virginia state location. This is a project that we've been with and been working on, honest to God, since 1997. I know that makes me sound elderly, but I am, so anyway, and it had popped up right before COVID. I mean, it must have been 3 days before COVID and the trains weren't, nothing was happening. So it has sat and just kind of simmered. Well, then I see this in the newspaper and the reporter from over there called me because, I've been involved before. So I went to the meeting, and what I did, I took the resolution that we had passed, and I said that, moving forward with this, I believe that the town of Bath Council would still be in favor of this and in favor of helping them moving forward, because the project must have West Virginia's approval and action and funding, because the extension from Martinsburg to Hancock or beyond is all in West Virginia. So there has to be, what they have done, they passed a law a couple of years ago and have produced a Mark Brunswick line expansion study. It's a very general study. What they are doing this year is they're asking for public input, and I'm gonna ask Sharon to put the website that you go to for the survey, public survey, as far as the Mark train stop and what you may think of it. They also have legislation in Annapolis, moving forward, I believe, to fund this, which is good, because if there's no funding, there's nothing to do anything with, and it's
Right.
what they've done before is just feel-good legislation, which is useless. So I did that. It was last Tuesday they had their meeting, so I just said that I believe in the county. I talked to a couple of the county commissioners, and they couldn't go with me that evening, but, you know, they are very interested also. So there may be something come of this. The world has changed a little bit from COVID, but that's why they're doing a study, and there is a survey online, and I'll make sure that Sharon gets that, and hopefully our newspaper will put it in too, so people can give their opinions. But that was something.
I think it's a good thing, anybody that can participate in that, to let them know that we really need to do that to get people that they can travel in on the MARC train and travel back out on the MARC train. It'll save a lot of people a lot of time and
A lot of money.
finances, because it gets expensive running a vehicle to DC every day. Believe me, I've done it. So,
Mr. Mayor, one thing on there, I'm just trying to tie in a couple points. Maybe at the same time as we say, okay, that would have the ability for folks from, our region to go over to Hancock and use it, as long as we had an upgraded bridge, which could be tie into the rail trail of getting bicycles across. So that may just be, we may want to take a step back and in our response, address that. I don't know if that'd be appropriate.
No. We're
All
gonna
right,
have it
now.
explained.
let's get the train first.
Well,
We've been fighting, I know,
Okay.
I've been fighting this since 2006, and
Well, I
she's been
know.
doing it 10
Okay.
years.
No,
before
just
that.
like I said, trying to look at
Right.
another future thing and seeing, because Maryland's responsible for the bridge.
Well, two things.
All right.
You got scuba gear.
Don't give them too many things.
All right.
But, all right. Thank you, Susan.
Sure.
All right, let's move on then and pay some bills.
All right. I would like to make a motion to pay the town of Bath bills in the amount of $8,774.46.
Second?
Have a motion second on the floor to pay the town of Bath bills in the amount of $8,774.46. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
I would like to make a motion to pay the Berkeley Springs Waterworks bill in the amount of $50,564.19.
A motion second on the floor to pay the Berkeley Springs waterwork bills in the amount of $50,564.19. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. All right, we got the bills paid. We move on down to the tree board.
Tree board the tree board met last week. Couple issues. First of all, the board voted to proceed with a grant through the state to do a tree survey, not only in the historic district of Bath, but also in 3 cemeteries. It will be fully funded, a grant. The town has agreed through the finance committee. Do we need to vote on that, Susan? To basically pay the cost of the project up front, because the project needs to start right away, and the funding for the project has to be paid up front. And then as soon as the project is completed, probably next September, October, of the grant money would be reimbursed to the tree board and then paid back directly to the town.
Why the finance committee did agree with this concept, and I think we talked about this at the last meeting, if I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is that we've used this with several other projects. We've done it with Streetscape. We did it with the historic landmarks with the survey last year. Remember, the town paid and then it was paid back when a grant comes in. So we didn't see it as anything unusual, and it's necessary. They don't have funds.
Right, right.
To do
I
this.
think we just give
And
it
out
to
of the
them. Let them-
reserve fund. and-
Yep, they're one of our committees, so I don't see any reason we get it to them, and when they bring it back, they repay it.
How much is it?
A little over $11,000.
So,
And I think we discussed taking that out of the reserve fund for the time being, or getting guidance from Sharon if she didn't think that was the best way to go.
okay.
So, so the committee did move forward with that, and it's gonna be a very, very worthwhile project for the town, because it identifies trees that are diseased, trees that are dead that need to be removed. This is all in public land, trees that are infested that could affect other trees, so it's gonna be a very beneficial project to the town. I think that's all I have for tree board.
Okay, grants,
Nothing to,
okay. All right, public safety,
We're going to just leave it where it is until next meeting, until we get some answers back.
okay. Okay. All right, cemetery,
We've already taken care of Make It Shine. I do want to let the council know that I am just about done with an application to the county that I'm going to be submitting, asking them to consider assisting us, the Town of Bath Cemetery Management and Maintenance Incorporated, with our mausoleum project. And I will also be discussing that with the town council during our budget preparation meetings. So we'll see where we go from there. The tree board did also take on the task of looking at some trees in the cemetery around the mausoleum, and I guess Rebecca and Kate and Lance determined that those trees should stay because they are addressing, or they are helping with the issue of erosion in that area of the cemetery. I also asked the tree board to determine whether it would be appropriate to remove the way overgrown trees around the shed, because I'm concerned they could damage this shed, and so I think they agreed that those probably should go. So we'll get the answer to that question during the next tree board meeting. And that's all I have for now.
okay.
Oh, I did, Chris and Scott, I would like to postpone our meeting for next week. It's normally the fourth Tuesday of the month for a couple of weeks. And I'll let you know when the date's appropriate.
Okay. Thanks, Beth.
Mm-hmm.
All right, ordinance, we did meet last week there, 2 weeks ago, but we have a meeting on the 7th of March. Yeah, and so we've got a few things we need to discuss. We'll bring it probably forward to the council here in the next few meetings.
Next
Point
public,
of order, you need to do that. Public works. Skip.
That's number 40.
He does it on purpose.
Well, I quit.
Just,
We had talked last week about Rodney having to replace the Ford 250 with one with the plow. Rodney's looking at those now and has some potential candidates to look at, but he's just in the looking phase, and we're gonna try to ride this out as long as we can.
Yeah,
And still so far, winter has been very kind to us. Knocking on wood till the ice comes tomorrow before it changes to rain.
you just stop.
I watch it, believe me, I look at it, but no, we're good.
So, all right, we good?
Yep.
All right, that's my dyslexic going on here. I'm changing everything around. So maybe there's a reason. Maybe I'm supposed to change these around. All right, ordinance, of course, next meeting will be the 7th. Let's go to waterworks. I didn't skip that.
Yeah. You did, we have to adjourn. So Waterworks, let's see, for the expansion project south, there's going to be a meeting on Thursday with Region 9 and County Commission and Public Service District and Berkeley Springs Waterworks officials to kind of start looking at getting that going, that project. And so it'll be the first kind of project planning meeting, I think, to kick that project off. So That will be on Thursday. Ron will definitely be attending that, and I will try. But,
What time is it?
11 o'clock.
I don't know.
And it's a Zoom, so,
I'll try to, I guarantee.
yeah. So, but that is moving, so there's something there. So, then, I don't know if I've noted it, we have hired a new employee at the water department, Jason Powell. Is a operator in training, and joined us in January. So, just in case I haven't noted that, we do have Jason on board, and we are still looking for class 1/2 operators. We need for the plant, and we will also looking for our sort of a superintendent, assistant superintendent, who in training, who will kind of move into the superintendent spot, as Ron is looking to retire later this year. So, those are still open, and if you know anybody, let us know.
I was gonna ask that, any feelers from anywhere?
So far, no. So, so we're still working on that.
Class 4 is the chief operator's position, right? Is it?
The chief operator is still, I think there's still one, there are two.
Two.
For our plant.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's different by plant.
By the
Right.
volume and like that? Okay.
Yeah, but ours is a class 2, for the chief operator. And then the next meeting for the water committee is the Monday, the 6th. That's all I have.
All right. All right, we come to the point in the meeting where I ask if there's anything else that needs to come before town council. Okay, if not, I ask for a common consent to adjourn. We're at it.
Got it.